We're just working with filtering. Filtering is one way of reducing our data and only looking at our data if it meets certain conditions. There's another way we can do this. We can have conditional functions, and conditional functions will do the same thing, except conditional functions can sometimes be more powerful because they can apply some kind of mathematical function to our data that only meets certain conditions. Just as we're using filtering to find winter months or find months with temperatures within a certain range, we can do the same thing using these conditional functions. I'm going to show you these because they're a very powerful tool for understanding what's going on with our data. As I mentioned early on with functions, there are hundreds of functions in Excel, and there are even several conditional functions. We're going to use count if. We're going to count how many data points match the criteria we're setting. We could also do sum if. We could add data points to each other if they meet conditions. Average if. We could take averages, but only for some of our data. This is a very similar idea to filtering. It just adds in this additional step of adding some math to it if we'd like to do these additional mathematical functions. In this case, as I said, we're going to be focusing on count if. And I'm going to show you how these conditional functions work. As you know, when we're putting a function into Excel, we immediately start getting clues on what kind of information it needs for its arguments. For COUNTIF, it wants to know what range it's looking in. And because we're saying right now in this case, we're going to be looking for good weather months, which I'm defining as months with a low temperature greater than 40 degrees. So we'll select the range of data associated with low temperature. Now, how am I going to define this good weather month? I have it right there next to it. We want low temperatures to be greater than 40 degrees. We put the condition, we put the criteria in quotes. And now as soon as I hit enter, Excel is going to do this count for us, and it's going to say, okay, there are 7 months that meet your condition of having low temperatures greater than 40 degrees. Remember, we could be doing this ourselves. This is a small data set, and that's the point. You can check this visually if you want to confirm that Excel is correct. But these functions become very powerful when you don't want to be counting it yourself, when you're looking at rows with hundreds of data points. And that's what we're going to be doing soon. Now, another condition that I'm going to say is having good weather months. I don't like really, really hot weather. I like it warm. So I'm also going to say we only want months where the high temperature, and so now we're selecting this high temperature range, is going to be less than 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And there are 8 of those months. So this is one quick example leading you into understanding how these conditional functions work. We just counted up months that meet our condition of having lows greater than 40. We counted up months leading our condition of having highs less than 80. But what we haven't done yet is we haven't figured out if any months meet both criteria. That is what's going to come next after you have a little opportunity to practice using some of these conditional functions.